The whole species value system. This is about lies about the presidents. It's about lies about President Trump. Sequence shifts against him, tied to courts recorded consciously, preventing mandated law, offensive exception crimes, forging names, switching names, various natures of court and collusion, forging names, switching names, pretending things recorded, having that stuck into databases, people on narratives and background they wouldn't pretend on paper, also exploitations of jobs of for them in the media and their experts. See, this is also making them starting forcing fights and worse outside of courts to force their roles not let reported inside or outside of court for crime methods recorded in courts originally and still. So there was a 1989 Eugene Methvin article about Akoya Lapriata group and the Lapriata, Dominic Lapriata, his family associated with interstates and stuff with Eric Jensen, who lived on a Dearborn Street in Newington. When they put him in a classroom with me in a part of a school associated with crimes with a person, a black person, I don't know their name, a kid who used the name Bayrock, associated with crime method with them, with the corners of when you within when they're anticipating where you're going to walk, and they have strangers start fights to pretend they had conversations with you, and this is also recorded now. I realized as identity thefts, but it's with their roles with further active child offenders of juxtaposed natures, overtly sick, and women judges, black and white women judges, recorded forging names, switching names, crimes with various natures of police forms, with sexual, medical, and overt drug crime roles with girls through time, and with like uses of that by they give them drugs and stuff like that, and that's tied to their crimes with databases and tied to a crime method that was through before since before, and then through DACA against the same nations it benefits financially because we're in a sick system specifically that is with the torture method that was to slavery, where our founders slavery, our founders fact cheaping nature slavery, forced, criminally forced, compared, and with physical delusions. Interscience is maintained influence from off campuses and on stage, on off campuses, maintain motivated roles as natures, as standing criminal and serious natures, tools. There's progressions, tools, offensive evidence reception, predators needing to misperceive things, set up to. Not both by them not understanding how they're originally still criminally foreign influenced individually, grouped and together, the branches recorded. The recorded criminally pretending people have conspiracy theories, faking conversations into databases, sequence shifts, using arrests with fake arresting officers and making the first ones pretend they make mistakes as officers from other parts, other town, other cities, and their family members also with crimes with on and off campus private police and people sharing names and criminal training of everybody and of standing roles with that on and off campus. CCSU recorded confessed with all Connecticut campuses, intercampuses, other campuses with the same actors. And I don't know the names of all of them. Trinity College also with deans and with CCSU with deans and their family members criminally involved through time. Been trying to report this since before the Trade Center attack. stayed intercity that connected because that's what they do. Then they had more people can make confess. They have a way of adapting per natures of crime that were originally instilled with psychology with the Justice Department in other nations like Russia and here, using evidence reception crime roles, criminally foreign influenced states and areas, but not sourced by one other nation, specifically to keep each modern nation blaming other things themselves, to keep each modern nation, the entire species identity of volume, its identity of relationship to itself valued as an identity causing negative value nature progressions. And as tool natures having blamed and having had that valued and blaming the real cause of negative value nature progressions, acts, and natures, and other things. Causes of it, like our stolen, our founders, fact, treatment, nature, slavery, not allowed demonstrated criminally, methodically, per and as the existence of recorded bonded crime methods against each age constantly, simultaneously. So we have recorded the motivations for this the same way they had it motivated with witch trials. And see, this is where the parties are forced to deal with natures of interbranch, intermilitary, original state criminal foreign influences, only debatable with lies and delusions, many ways, especially with psychology, tied to other convictions and solutions. And as worse than non-solutions, valuing recorded what our founders would go out of their minds, livid, angry about, like the Webb House, now Webb/Stevens House, where George Washington had to come leave overt slavery with color in the North in Wethersfield, Connecticut /Hartford, right here, right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, even with the French generals' help. That stole their identities now to steal Marbury versus Madison, putting sequence shifts, not letting free speech demonstrate fraud branches. Worse than that, insidiously, criminally foreign influenced states and areas effectively maintain this on a mass scale as opinion natures, as an election crime method that has bonded a whole bunch of other election crime methods and positions with town offices. The way they are in this town, interbranch through time and with the state judicial branch offices and with houses next to it and with businesses near it, the state judicial branch offices, on off its campus criminal crime act roles with child offenders, with offenders with predicate acts crime roles tied to crimes and crimes at Trinity College with its databases, with a whole bunch of girls named Alicia, and tied to on and off campuses of Trinity College with the Johnny Duke Galucci guy, with the CCSU too, and IO family, and DeMauro family, and Kerr family, and a girl I don't know the name of, that she's going to say she knows me because they had her walk up to me and make statements before and make confessions. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying she's a victim, but I don't know. They're putting these people as victim predators into narratives that attach me to fake locations, fake conversations with people, sequence shifts, identity theft crime roles with them, with various natures of courts, recorded and confessed by their family members themselves, and recorded, and then them recorded hiding that by saying other than they say misprision, forging names, switching names, attaching me and others to fake conversations, fake words about legal cases, for their live progressions tied to proven sequence shift inside the proposed dated documents to be handed in on time inside the Ninth Circuit, inside the Trade Center attack context right before it. So then those judges that day saw post-dated documents. That was proven after. That led up to the 2006 Connecticut case now with the federal criminals. One of them, the Dominic Lepriata, associated with before that, Eric Jensen was put in the class with me in high school, which is relevant now because they brought up now because their roles with child crimes and with the same courts then and now with retired and standing male and female judges and people with the courts involved with all natures of abuses of criminal uses of lawyers too, especially if they were pretending that was vetting because they make fake sides of fact sheet natures and that evolved from and then went backwards with an O'Brien family criminally involved per them. When they were kids, they sought me out to make confessions about their roles with interbranch and or congressional and detectives intercity involved with overt criminal enterprises. They make these confessions through time, the same clicks through grammar school kids. This is consciously them criminally involved as tools obfuscating our understanding of our actual American history and organized crime method that used slavery of our founders. Color is only one thing. How they made it worse, different ways, how they forced roles. So we're going to examine this. This is what I'm trying to say. The New York game, hurry up, because I want to give you ground and I want to defend our country, which you're not letting the presidents do. Trying to give people jobs with a narrative that knows that there's not going to be enough for them, and those are not jobs that value human life, and or that can counter and not exploit and value what is recorded, causing negative value nature progression acts and natures blamed on other things on themselves, and that's valued by fake psychology, integrity. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a police force, I'm not a criminal, not military. Vaccines. The science is sharing identity that English was revealed to teach. So one must teach. So we have recorded forced aggression about the nature of speech because we have the courts not only in courts criminally involved, but their criminal methods with areas forcing sustained. Don't say on this, don't tell on us, and we'll fake care. And these are people sick with drugs and with all kinds of facilitations, other kinds of natures of crimes that are going to keep happening with through the science classes and on off campuses relationship to database affected crime roles. And with the perception of people, like with crime methods, having someone go to the office and having time they're going to walk here. So you have strangers make confessions like they did when I was in high school, making no sense to me. I never had a class with Charlie Bowes. He was a football coach. I just see when I was a freshman, I didn't meet anyone. I had a friend from another town, so I never met any of the girls and stuff like that from my town. And the ones I did were all confessed, recorded, demonstrated, involved with what was they pass it. They build life progressions. See, I never had a class with the two O'Brien brothers, also involved within O'Brien family, as an O'Brien family associated with confessions and recorded crime rolls with Sandy Hook database clicks, interstate, and worse, and with fire departments. And these are with Washington families, also with a Brian Silver and a Brendan Leahy, and his father Brendan Leahy recorded predicate acts crime rolls. I don't know about the Brian Silver. That's what they said. I never had a conversation with Brian Silver and or with the Brendan Leahy. I said one word. I said yeah to him, and then to get him away, and he walked away. Then I never had a conversation with him. That was one word. The other kid walked up to me. The guy walked up to me in a triage place. See, these are people recorded themselves crime rolls with child offenders that I was trying to report before that with the Dillon family and with people that were in that sort of triage too. There was a guy screaming. There was a girl screaming too. And that's associated the same people criminally involved with this Dillon guy and with two Mendez brothers with crimes with child sex offenders, proven with the kid as a principal sex offender per them. And that's recorded torturing him, not to say what he confessed about the worst recorded child offenders forced then and now with his campus. That report they just only got, and these are people through time. Also, one time out of nowhere, Chet Casper started a fight with me when I was in middle school. I don't know him. He's also around the time of the shooting of Greg Kyler. He was in Hartford, downtown Hartford, with the buildings and associated with Fox News, with two Domain brothers, two Mendez brothers, involved with all natures of child abuses, and with other people associated with the Coya Lapriata group in the 1989 Reader's Digest article about a RICO draft complaint, which is Racketeering Influence and Corrupt Organization Act. But this is also with defendant former director of the FBI crime rolls with other federal criminals of his too, like a Thaddeus Grabowski in the 2006 part of the case /S, and associated with them criminally right around the time of the shooting of Greg Kyler, which is right before the 2006 case with the defendant former director of the FBI and his lawyer Robert Cheverry, criminally involved per reasons spoken into the record. But that's also recorded with criminal uses of the court leading up to it in there and since, because this is interbranch crime acts with other natures of courts criminally involved with the people, with the federal criminals that were spoken into the noted in the record, observing the case from the from the other side. And we were on this side. But the point, in other words, most people don't even know what never even saw a director of the FBI before. There are proofs that Comey is acting. Now I have to give it up because maybe they needed to catch people in lies because there's styles of lying that are an abridged constitution that they never had. In other words, they've been pretending integrity. Then you have to lie. You have to pretend that you believe that you should just be able to write whatever and punish people with jails, recorded with stewardships needing to hide the same finite active body of value discernment, simultaneous value discernment, progressive value lies with them, sequential lies with them, identity theft lies with them. That's what we have. Then they smile and stuff like that. Cop forms and stuff like that. Those are the same people that want to interact with the community. They're valuing criminal seriousness nature that never had the right to be legalized. Victim predators. So forgiveness is especially needed for to be a quality of fact human nature that can counter what bonded alter roles as criminal and insidious natures, with uses not just of color, but to counter that, you have to counter the method that was to the fact human nature slavery of our founder, identity thefts of them then effectively, insidiously now maintained, so they can pretend that they can get away with pretending through generations that they don't understand what Marbury versus Madison means. Marbury versus Madison, which per my father means true justice must satisfy all appearances of true justice. As simple as that. In other words, it means that don't fake it. See, we have overall nature of volume, body of value discernment, and finite, simultaneously distinctly and non-distinctly each sabotaged. I mean, prevented free speech, prevented freedom of religion by and as people pretending other, with passions and emotions dishonest, as identities of forced as valuing the role that's why they're valuing already facilitated to all areas sustained collusion that way. The identity of the ground. There's a recent shooting by a Chris White reported, and now that's also recorded and confessed involved with police forms associated with Eric Mendez and Janito Mendez, with interbranch police and detectives retired and standing involved with child offenders of juxtaposed natures and with juxtaposed natures of crimes, interbranch forging names, switching names, interbranch criminally individually grouped and together. Various natures of courts too. Various ways Hartford courts and their buildings were criminally used. And then sequence shifts, pretending, and so this has been interstate through time. People that confessed before I even knew about it. Their roles also, I mean, so we'll examine this. But we need to have the media is not what they're not doing is allowing mandated law. That's why they're not allowing they're valuing and needing to have reactions to types of crimes. So they'll keep them forced to sustain so you can pick one. And including when they get desperate, and all the time they're sustaining child offenders through psychology, ones with badges, investigations of it used because how they had entrenched uses of a Mendez family and people tied to them with identity thefts, crimes in databases, attaching people to fake positions, intermilitary, foreign and domestic military corruption on and off CCSU, crime roles with their hierarchy ranking with the prison leaderships, especially regarding men and women. They have sick beasts. Campus Marcius rises in these, incapable of defending themselves, their own convictions, criminality, and recorded physical delusions. And they're getting away with it because of the nature of criminality that the directors of our agencies, our nation's branches have simultaneously, distinctly, and not distinctly together value. Modern nations are an identity of negative value nature progression in its identity of value nature relationship to itself, which is negative, which is what the course of positive and negative is about, the Trinity. Which is simultaneously three ways positive or not to its complete nature, which is also a semi-nature before and after this. That has stayed beyond our control as the complete identity together with the three and demonstration of it. 3 overall. So we'll examine better than the Fibonacci numbers are the God numbers 1, 3, 5. So we'll examine this. All the numbers 1 through 10. 1 through 10. See how 10, 0 is on right to left. And before 1, it's left to right. Now, this is at the same time a forever nature and diffusion through itself as a quality of diffusion, wherever it is standing. And that's in relation as value, as a quality of diffusion, as value to the complete nature, also positive onto itself, the top of the Z, which forces evolution here, or if we're just a semi-nature of positive, temporary positive only, force the bottom of the Z as the value of our identity, Leith of Hadith, to be the perfection of a little bit more of the complete of a semi-nature of the complete nature of Allah, a term of science coming in, but with its complete nature of relationship to itself, self-generating. The ancients revealed this as with pantheism as a science that reveals that one identity of value, progression, bonded matter. And this is also self-generating identity of value, progression, perfect. And how it is self-generating is with us how we are a temporary / lasting forever nature. Each of the sciences are obfuscated. Each of the sciences are influenced. Each of the sciences through that are valuing and having had value and glorified having had value. Line progressions within as the substance of a reception of the ground, a reception of nature, which is theater. You see all the beautiful mountains and stuff like that sometimes on windows and stuff like that. Obviously, they put the screen up. You see, or you go see it in real life. You see half-track marks, all the mountains chopped up. See, but this is tactically the nature where fresh water comes from. Saturates the ground because it melts when it goes up. The drips down, constantly. Then where it collects, just keeps going. River, clean up the sea. Instead of throwing garbage in there, bring more fresh water. Spread it around before it goes out. See, you can't afford those things when you're in this trap. So one must wrap. That's why it's so important to understand American history from Wethersfield / Hartford, Connecticut. Right before the last battle of the Revolutionary War, where the French, even with the French generals' help, they had to leave overt slavery. You have to understand that in the North here, and forget about New York, sick. And they knew then what they would keep everyone per method, blaming other people and others themselves for the causes of it. So you finally have a president, finally have a great black, but now I'm calling black, finally have a great president. Thank God we had a good guy. But we have a value in Trump not being freed here, where he's willing to be able to counter the nature of criminality with our directors, because this is a nature of criminality with Russian directors, crime rolls with a whole bunch of against their own too. In other words, we have a shared enemy, the species volume, with psychology, with database relationships, and with methods of that use them originally and still to keep the nature self-cultivated valuing roles with it. This is why we're in infrastructure that was forced with the slavery of our founders, the fact treatment nature slavery of our founders, stolen identities, shifted those things onto them because it forced them only roles where they had to share hide policing. So they couldn't tell our real history. So it was already set up to adapt to whoever adapted to them. Madison just did a little bit of a preemptive push to make it do damage control. We're still in the same criminally foreign influence states and areas of each modern nation. Criminally foreign influence, but not sourced by one, and not by the and not by the real motivations. See, forgiveness is to get to the only way you can figure out is to realize it, which is all recorded to correlation. Science did not speak for Hartford, Connecticut. Science did not speak for New York City, and you won't let it. You won't let President Trump speak for it. And you guys force, he fights, and then with a woman. Because behind that is states and areas, intermilitary, crime rolls with reality, with databases, with the abridged constitution, with recorded criminally foreign influence precedents, with recorded sick offensive evidence reception predators, and live progressions and uses of them, and live progression natures, and ties to all the topics in the news, and recorded conspiracy theorists pretending criminally pretending that courts have the integrity to solve with their influences, with their crime rolls influencing originally and still. That's why forgiveness is so important. Never had integrity. Not one modern nation. That's their counters. Sanctions, knowing they're in the same sick before cars forced pathology of homes, tactically denatured relationships to nature, zoning laws, tactically semi and completely unsafe on a mass scale. Keep everyone blaming things like money for sick treatments of each age effect treatment nature, and only let realized natures of counters to the problems with that, valuing it, used, invested deeper, maintaining the nature of criminal insidiousness, all mass, pretending that that's power, because that's all they could. That's all they were. They're victim predators. Raise each age, each individual group slash sexes, and together each intercampuses too. Recorded, facilitated, maintained identity theft rackets roles. Each age of fact sheet nature maintained misprision. Crime trick methods with sensibilities, with it's all right. You want to be parents, try to interact, make kids deal with their interactions. Don't get other kids you don't know to pretend things. Otherwise, if you want to pretend things, do it on paper, because we have these people now sequence shifting I never had anything to do with, and they're stacking the names criminally that I have to use because the judges are forging names and switching names. Crime acts with drugs, formal and informal, with various natures of criminal enterprises, and the witness protection program. All crime acts rolls with the area. It's not hard to imagine, to understand, recorded, how police chiefs have interactions with thousands of people through time. and with spots where they're focused, like on off campuses, like CCSU, like Trinity College, like Wesleyan, like the spots next to it, like that spot on the river, criminally involved through time, with people associated with legal and criminal body dumping spots, criminal uses of legal fake news. They're like for those same things that they really do, like with the body dumping spot of Billy Grasso, then criminal uses of it through time with the Dillon family, a whole bunch of people tied to them, with the Faenza family, a whole bunch of people tied to crimes with WFSB, recorded and confessed crimes with drug cliques and the family members cliques of the Coyle Lapriata group associated with Eric Jensen, who lived in Newington but went to my high school in class. I met him shortly before a couple times with my neighbor over here, the Ray Colola with the with his extended family members and family members associated with identity thefts, pretended I knew them through time in a sustained way, and you know, like acting. So there are offensive evidence for something they get tried. That's also tied to on and off a CCSU tied campus on Franklin Avenue, where they have a mosque now. Also, where they have already interreligious criminal uses of them, of the sensibilities of each spot. In that spot, the businesses there recorded and confessed involved identity thefts, crimes, other natures of crimes. They don't realize that was crimes. I didn't say anything because I didn't realize the extent of it at the time. Of a Scalora family associated with police forms with identity thefts. They're doing this intercity through time on and off campuses because they sustain kids used criminally when they're for evidence crimes with interbranch families and foreign police families, stacking database crimes where they have acting into groups. And, you know, then they isolate people into polarities, and then they pretend they knew people that they don't know in ways they don't know too, like a DeMorrow family and a Kerr family, and other people in that area also tied to Middletown and New Britain Superior Court, with retired and standing judges criminally involved, and a whole bunch of other people I don't know, and with a Klotz family, and a whole bunch of people that with them with military retired and standing and reportedly dishonorably discharged from the Marines, but criminally involved with them anyways, and with foreign families like Asian families, and then them so in intercity associated with medical cliques, with drugs, with overt criminal enterprises, pretending they're and crimes with undercover, also with identity thefts, offensive evidence crimes, illusion stacking, database crimes, rumor spreading, typing fake things onto so they can pretend that, so they can hide from police reports, so they can sequence shift, so they can keep using standing criminally used positions like on off Fox CT and whatever, and their roles with the Russians, per people at Hartford Hospital, to me and others, and involved with the Russian lady club there, and some house and criminally with houses on Two Rod Highway, with the Faenza family, and with an Allegro's Cafe, and with a Maria Fazzino, and with a Brian Bonin. And these are people I never had anything to do with. I never knew Maria Fazzino until after she graduated high school. Sought me out for these confessions, which is why they did that, so they could pretend I knew those people earlier. John Maiano too. I never knew him the whole time when my neighbor was in high school, when they used to hang around with them. I only know them sometimes, you know. See, but they need to pretend other because they have so many police forms in the area criminally involved, foreign and domestic, facilitated through the two police chiefs involved with the Collo House criminally, with a Bob Chase, a Phil Collo, and per others with the court and with state police and doctors involved criminally with this Phil Collo, who's involved also with crimes in courts and their police and people associated with various natures of real estate crimes, with people associated with Dillon's and with child offenders associated with Alina's Pizza and a tiki bar and their identity thefts. There are crimes with police sex offenders, uncharged but recorded, and one's charged, and people on and off campuses training of police forms and training of semi-military, military, like ranks with prisons and stuff like that, where we have they're all degenerate liars, delusions wrong, and they have they're bonded crime method or criminally foreign influence too, though. Now I'm not a police form, not criminal, but not I'm not a doctor, but the recorded physical delusions, forging names of doctors, recorded and confessed to me, who could delineate their delusions, that and how they've been torturing prisoners, innocent people, and people that are there that are not really as bad, as they said they were to get them there, and how they're making them and keeping them there. Recorded crime methods, confessed, recorded. This is too long. This is what Santa Claus is about. Saint Nicholas was put in prison by these same type of methods and natures with interbranch families through time facilitated to this ahead of time. Various also Luigi Guerrero and his sister and many others facilitated the crime acts roles with the English department of CCSU in New Britain that are involved with the crime acts with those illusions tied to as crime acts roles with the child sex offenders and with the many people associated, again, thousands of people with the criminal uses of each of the campuses by the police chief's daughter and her husband involved with crimes with Miano brothers and all these other people associated with them criminally, like they confessed like fake news crime acts roles with a Christine Tardet, and with other people with New Britain Superior Court, forging names, switching names, with child sex offenders proven and further recorded that they forced and are still forcing because they're not letting demonstrated juxtaposed natures of crimes with women too, women judges, forging names, switching names, interbranch crimes, each branch individually, together and grouped. Vicious, sick predators, just like the gangs, just as insidious. Only using weapons too, but first using crime methods, the same insidious ways, same sick convictions, fake sciences, same nature of theater, criminal insidious in this nature. So I'm not a lawyer either, but we're going to demonstrate recorded criminal uses of lawyers through time with associations with a Pandolf family and with houses around a Samuel Dix house, originally and still involved with all kinds of crimes with the families, with the medical corruption, identity theft crime acts, harassment, pretending other people harass strangers as to pretend they know them, and as their roles recorded with the forced sexual and behavioral crimes sustained on kids that are also adapting to their needs to counter that, also juxtaposed facilitated through the kids of the interbranch families and of the like the and of a former the police chief's daughter and kids an extended family member criminally involved with the principal sex offenders campus with other interbranch families too. Further, with the fake news crime acts that were used to cover their lie progressions, because before they were in courts, they were involved with crimes with databases, all natures of crimes with kids, with sequence shifting, with the houses in my area associated with the proven child sex offenders further criminally involved with more of them, and with medical families, with the policing of the store clicks criminally involved, policing of drugstores, crime roles and uses of the sensibilities of doctors with that, of doctors in relationship to what we have problems that are sustained by and for this more than for drugs. Really, what the overt criminal enterprises are being used for, to keep off fakes, states and areas criminally foreign influenced, fake positive natures. The Trinity is what makes you can where you so you can have make invention, and then it's going to work or not in relationship to an identity of value, relationship to itself. And then it's going to be further positive or negative or not in relationship to the Trinity's relationship to itself, Allah. To make everything hard because the convictions sustained through generations. Interscience is criminally foreign influence because they need that to hide their life progressions, to hide their actually recorded natures into branch, raised as victim predators. Forgiveness is for this, and greatly for them. So y'all, we don't throw them down with the fake branches, but the fake branches have to go. So they need to step down CT or get thrown down with them. I mean, I have the rights now to the attorney general. There was a Justin Levinskis who recorded, confessed, and demonstrated his wife and kids are involved with database crimes, with crimes with military police, with identity thefts, with crimes with databases, with crimes with drugs, formal, informal, and with criminal foreign influences, with lie progression cover up roles. I never knew him in grammar school or in middle school. There are people. I never had a class with Ray Collo, Joe DeMoro, or Heather Hansen, or Mike Kerr, who was in Joe DeMoro, Heather Hansen, and Ray Collo were put in a middle school class with me in summer school. I never had a middle school class with them. They had that summer school class for a fact treatment trick through time. And with a whole bunch of other boyfriends she had. Joe DeMoro and Mike Kerr were his boyfriend at the same time. They didn't like it. But then we talk about it behind their backs. And these were people that I was only listening to because they're making confessions to me and to Ray about their roles with overt criminal enterprises and about their roles with what the O'Briens had confessed right before Ray Collo and his family moved in when I was in fourth grade, which was their roles with Congress criminally, with overt criminal enterprises, and with investigators criminally associated with the school. And that was demonstrated with them criminally involved with a Debbie Gold and with a Stacy Beer. I never had a conversation with her in my life. And they like I want they we were he wanted to and I wanted to. We were gonna like have her go. I mean he had like they were setting them up with girls, and that was like early though. It was like I don't know, like third grade or fourth grade. It was before Ray Claw moved in. See, but then his mother got involved in something like that. But that was juxtaposed at the same time. They're whatever. In other words, the point is they made confessions about they have crime roll with offensive evidence perception. They're making confessions about overt criminal enterprises involved with natures of police forms, involved with streams into courts each day and putting them in jail, and involved with tortures originally instilled that our founders left us to demonstrate with sick natures with each age of fact treating nature. There's also Sabi Bajario and a Jeremy Grohl recorded and confessed with a whole bunch of other people that were that my neighbors were also confirmed and recorded and confessed were facilitated the crime rolls with various natures of courts of kids intercity and with doctors associated with prison clinics associated with them like Long Lane in Middletown and various natures of psychologists with drug clinics and their family members, people, associated with Middletown, associated with triage relationships. There's a triage associated with on and off Trinity College associated with a product called K2 and WTNH narratives regarding people with the triage and people they filmed and regarding their narratives of people getting sent into a triage for taking K2. And there's a guy named Arnold who's recorded and confessed and repeated, demonstrated when I was with. He's involved with them with crimes also with see, these are victim predators. So these are stayed, but this is different, worse. Because this is the FBI criminally involved, standing with on off campuses relationships, training of positions that are influenced by Washington Trade Center type negotiations that are with psychology, sick, intersciences, interbranch, physical delusions raw, preventing mandated law, forging names, switching names, attaching people to fake behavior, pretending we yelled into databases, at women into databases. But leave it, but and using that because they're pretending that medical information is not. You think they say, oh, you're not supposed to speak medical information. Oh, you think, oh, that's good. They're making up information. They recorded crime rolls with juries, all aspects of the courts, trained to positions to deal with experts as misprision. They're built as a misprision ground to body of value discernment, sequence value discernment, criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, progressions value discernment, criminally foreign influence, delusions raw, every nation at once. That can't defend itself from correlation, nature, silence, simultaneously inherent active and progressive means. One way redeems. Shouldn't even have to talk about this. Should be. It's right there in our face. Too long has been valued, blamed on other. The real causes of negative value nature progression is action nature. So what we're going to do is mean stack with the New York game. We see we could do this in New York, as the song says. No, I'm not. There's no joke. We mean stack, not just physical means, which we have to leverage and move fast in New York game. In other words, each person of each age, especially with those stacked buildings and the buildings next to them, all those people we have to attend meetings with a gaming system because it only feels like game to know this is how you do it, this is how you afford it. Otherwise, you can't afford it, and no matter how rich, you see their ponds, little fountains, not that deep. Tactically denatured landscape theater. We never evolved out of it. To make America great again, you have to counter the zoning laws and the pathology of infrastructure forced with the fact cheap nature slavery of our founders. If anyone even mentioned was found out having mentioned outside of internation monitored database relationships, internation. That's important because that's why they forced England be the only let realized known identity of Connecticut. It was a face. It was forced to be a face here, a position here, so sickly to only let that remembered. So they could keep how nations were grouped and together and individuals, everyone against everyone. They're not the identity that was here didn't care about England. Besides, you know, play the game as is, as the pathology tactically denatured to cause negative value nature progressions, acts and natures, blamed on other things, not others themselves. Acts like predicate acts, natures like criminal insidiousness nature, like wrongdoers, juxtaposed natures of criminal enterprises in collusion because the motivations for the furtherance of them were completely ulterior from and as the method that methodically made all other natures of interest, motivations, and roles. Like it's not really drugs most facilitating the overt criminal enterprises. It's fact treatment nature pseudosciences that are preventing correlation nature simultaneously free speech as means to simultaneously inherent active and progressive convictions proper, sequence nature proper, attachment to the identity of the grounds, attachment to body of values, discernment, simultaneous value. Again, as what is going to cause positive or not, what we do that's going to work or not, and then further be positive or not. And when it's going to be further positive too, that's evolution. What's positive to the Trinity? This is science. And that's the one identity it shares, Allah. This is science, the science of pantheism. I'm not asking you for faith. The science of pantheism about the one identity of perfect value progression that generated matter. Before something could collide, it had to be generated. So science reveals it is most plausible. It's also demonstrable as we play out what English is revealed to teach about the identity the sciences share simultaneously and simultaneously distinctly and non-distinctly. This is why the ratiocination and pseudo-ratiocination share an identity of value progression relationship. That identity of value progression has to be discerned as an identity of value. And that's why Allah's name is important. That's why convictions, see, God valued is value G. God, there are three natures of God as the Trinity, as one nature, simultaneously. As a little bit beyond that, and as a little bit beyond before that, as five simultaneous semi natures. So there are five pillars of Islam: faith, emotion. Is my father? I mean, emotion, stability, identity, difference, being, and the wrap of it is the bond, which is the value of a bond, though. See, that's the important thing. So when I added that. He taught me the wrap. I should have said it. But so we'll examine how I'm an expert on the nature of English grammar. And how about this? How about not just the ratiocination and pseudo ratiocination? This is why the predicate and the predicate act simultaneously are in demonstration of this identity of relationship that everybody has, everything has. Excuse me. And a relationship to the identity of perfect value progression. Each complete identity is simultaneously an unceasing semi-nature relationship, an unceasingly increasingly valuable relationship, semi-nature relationship to Allah's perfect value progression. Us as temporary slash lasting forever nature. So for heaven and hell were revealed as science terms originally. They became religious terms because and modern religions had to counter with the religion of correlation, with the science of correlation, the prayer of it became only remembered through criminally foreign influenced sciences that were designed to keep that defended and then to have that value, knowing that would cause negative value nature progressions that they could have value. Knowing that would cause live progression, cover up nature's needs and the styles that would need to hurt and to value being hurt, correlation nature, which is a trinity, which is three natures of volume simultaneously, finite, active, and progressive. Finite as the individual nature of volume. Active as simultaneous nature, body of value discernment. Body of value relationship discernment. And as progressions value discernment. See, when you look at the pathology of infrastructure, even in the suburbs, which is critical, because the bottom is below it, but this is below bottom in the suburbs. Man must understand that to understand the recorded, consciously valued torture method to slavery and to free speech, denial, and pretending other. Motivations to it originally is still religion fail, betrayal tribes. One way revives. All answers are here. AncientGamingSystem.com. YouTube.com/user/Romulus Wall. Works for this. I tell you all. Teach you all. Campus Martinez needs the name return. Not one has learned. Not one has trained correct. No disrespect, that's what it is. It's very simple to see what influenced people to pretend passions, emotions, dishonestly as fake care and as evil justice. And worse and all in between and whatever. With color. For a method that came from semi-ancient times that already knew how they could make it so hard for people to counter once they got entrenched, valuing roles as criminal insidious nature, exploiting it. And they realized, and when we were trying to counter that, the way it would unfold, that they could maintain already internation, valued relationships interculturally, that they could maintain them as perpetual a means to perpetually control the entire species by mixing in physical slavery, so they could maintain the minority from each nation with it, and as each modern nation built from some ancient trap, blaming other and others themselves for the real causes of negative value, nature, progressions, action, natures. That's why it is so important. That's why Native Americans say on YouTube, read their dreams. I can't find the guys. He says they all say, but I can't find. So we could talk. We need a semi-nature tribe that could be half, and then we can try to make it and keep it complete. Because until native rights are liberated, our value goes. Lethal IDs. It leaves. The value pulls. The pendulum out of outer space appears. So Earth's immediate space nature, it leaves lethal IDs. Rather, it's the value of the bottom of the Z as the value of semi-nature. It's not the value of the top of the Z. As a value, as a quality of diffusion, as a gaining nature of volume. Even if we lose weight every day. Vaccines, it tells us things. Prepare our souls. So this is too, the New York gang, the Lepriada Koya group, associated also with, interstate Rhode Island and Rick Sanfayone, Brian Silver, Brendan Leahy crimes. I did have conversations with Rick Sanfayone before. That was also recorded, confessed, tied to his mother with a racket with the girls, conversations, tricks with her sons, and with time tied to the confessions about the and things, and then having her want to make him use whipped cream instead of eggs, or throwing ball at each other. For we were going to invent the game. That was like right before the paintball guns. That was before I heard of paintball guns. Maybe now everyone uses paintball guns. Maybe that's why too, because they have paintball guns in the narratives. With one of the only times there was an exception. There was a Richard Dabrowski, off of Two Ride Highway. Also recorded, confessed, involved with like really strong weed. Was good, but with like soap would taste like, with a paintball gun, and with narratives with the New Britain uh, Superior Court, and with other natures of court, and their family members associated criminally with that area, and with this Dillon guy. See, this Dillon guy is involved criminally with my new and past neighbors, with real estate crimes, with various natures of real estate agencies, like with courts criminally involved with them, with on off campuses locations, like with Lolina's Pizza. These are people criminally involved with Daryl Sullivan and his wife and her former boyfriends. How they tricked us to go there by pretending she was a different Magdalena, which is also tied to the people involved with the Morals from my town, Intercity, involved with a whole bunch of exploited girls when they were girls, abused, and then they're grouped, being used to exploit as crime rules tools with the abuses of the kids with the principal sex offender, and with the worst with his campus still forced then and now, recorded, still active, tied to what they're ducking behind with the orchestrated timed uses of the witness protection program criminally, of FBI recorded confessed involved criminally used in the area. Let them deny it, but let them deny it on paper. We'll pick one name and sequence and let's go. Because they're wrong. That's what they know is recorded actually. Their crime rolls being used to record and forge the switch names. They use the Mendez brothers and the Morrow brothers from my town, the more intertown ones with crimes with ones in my town now, with Mendez brothers and with others involved with sexual abuses of girls, drugs, crimes rolls, identity theft crime rolls, and they torture people not to say anything because they already made fact treatments and roles in relationship. They have people and they report on TV many times that they have people that go a whole bunch of years in jail and they didn't do it. It's supposed to be, if you make that's why we need another nature of statutes too, because even they're not even gonna let them have use pens and stuff like that. They're not gonna let. They know they need to talk. They're gonna prevent it, delay it. They're gonna torture them. They torture people by not letting them brush their teeth in prison, by not letting them by attaching the fake words and fake behavior, fake sequences per their roles with crimes with the campuses before they and with their federal criminals and before they were in prison. You see what I'm saying? Online before with crimes with them in cases, with the online police, they're using the behavior thought narratives of what people say about aggression and stuff like that because they're needing to keep aggression because the branches in distinctly individually grouped and together need to have fights between people, need to have aggression that the state countered with aggression that they can punish for defending itself and or countered legally in ways where they hurt you that way too because you can't get a lawyer. That's why we need the attorney general now. See, this is what the president is trying to get. We need the attorney general because this is from ACA to RICO. Also, crime rolls with this Dillon family facilitated with the finances with the fake news crime acts, and with the Christine Bedard, with the others, with the New Britain Superior Court and other courts, and the people in them all criminally involved on and off campuses, and with their police forms leading up to, and then in the Trade Center attack context, and since tied to their crime acts roles with on off campuses, illusions, and then someone pretends to perceive things so they could make the mistakes in courts and while they're forging names, switching names into branch, faking things into databases, fake witnesses that they would never pretend that paper because it's recorded actual correlation would reveal this. So we have a Gold family also further recorded and confessed, and a Kerr family also recorded and confessed with a Miller family, also recorded and confessed with wire crimes with uses of the and people in the area involved with interreligious crimes and criminal uses of the sensibilities of interreligious recorded used and with pretending they recorded filming me growing pot on my porch with a police drone as some of the people involved with the child sex offender crimes. See the juxtaposing natures of crimes because the only responses to those natures of crimes are certain types of experts tied to programs that are agreed upon for Washington Trade Center and in relationship to all kind of threats against our kids here and there, force shared police, force training them here and there, shared. Recorded having used DACA to maintain criminal foreign influences, uses, and roles really what was furthering the and valuing the overt criminal enterprises with campuses in intercities, identity theft crime rolls, sick natures of uses of victim predators with physical culture used consciously to propagate physical delusions and natures of fact treatment style incapable of defending clear culture, invisible but still discernible actual culture. I mean, physical's forcing the physical differences are more numerated, are countless because so we can see this, so we can discern our obligations by and as in value as fact treatment nature for a reason. This for the only complete system that is only going to be complete, positive unto itself, or teaching when it's not by lethal hadiths, negative value nature progressions, criminal insidiousness natures, acts and natures, till we heal it. Otherwise, forget about it. This little species too long stole the value of Earth. Goes away, lethal hadiths. That's all we are as value. A bunch of criminal insidiousness natures glorifying going into space because they're fake science natures. So we have sensibilities, convictions need to pretend that they're offensively. The only way we can do this is everyone's forcing their leaders to be knaves. And fake science stay it. Play it! Yeah, she needs a beer. Yes. Don't disbelieve.